Hello and welcome to the IDP Plus Touchdown Props Podcast, where usually if you're looking for a healthy dose of touchdown props for any week of the NFL season, I've got your back. I do have some touchdown scores in this one, but now that we're getting down to the conference championship and we've got just a couple of games, I've got a special one for you. So stick around in just a sec. I'm going to get into some of my favorite touchdown props and some of my favorite betting lines to bet on for the conference championship of the NFL season. Yes, we're back again for another week of the IDP Plus Touchdown Props podcast, where each week I've just been laying out a parlay menu of sorts of just pure research that I've done for potentially making bets of my own. I've just laid out the research for y'all each and every week to see if anything strikes a chord with anybody, making my case for a handful of players each week. So now we're in conference championship time of the NFL season, and I've got a couple of touchdown scores for you, and then I've got some other lines that I like in particular. I don't want to dabble too much into the touchdown scores with just a couple of games on the slate for this week, so we'll dabble a little bit into it and then we'll get into a couple of other things, but we've got a fairly condensed show for you this week given the lag of games in total. So I just want to remind everybody, like every week, that these aren't even really suggestions. It's more just research I've written out for making bets of my own. I'm trying to save you all that time and research and just kind of lay it out there on the table for you, pick and choose what you like and leave what you don't. So I just want to also remind everybody to bet responsibly, set a limit and stick to it. For help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Now, without further ado, we'll go ahead and hop into it with our first play this week, which is a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown at plus 120 against the Buffalo Bills this week. We're still getting plus juice on potentially the greatest tight end to ever do it in playoff time. Get this, since 2018, Travis Kelce has scored in 14 of a possible 20 playoff games. Not to mention he's had two touchdown scores. He's 2 touchdowns away, from beating Jerry Rice's all-time playoff touchdown record, and could potentially be the last year that he plays. So what a way to go out then to break the great Jerry Rice's playoff touchdown record. And you got to figure that Andy Reid is going to feed him the ball in hopes that maybe some volume can help him get this in what I mentioned could be his last playoff game, last game in general if they end up on top. So he started his playoff game. He started the playoffs with his best game of the year. I called that last week. That come playoff time he would be unleashed. That maybe they've been kind of holding him back much of the year to see what they have in their other players. That hit home. I mean, 117 yards and a touchdown was by far his best game of the year. So I think that carries on. I think the Chiefs are going to try to get him another couple scores before they go out. So I like Travis Kelce for an anytime touchdown this week. It might be the last time we get him at plus odds. So plus 120 there against the Buffalo Bills. My next play here is going to it's going to stay in this game. It's going to be James Cook anytime touchdown, plus 125 against the Chiefs this week. It's a terrible matchup in the open field against Kansas City, but it's tough to bet on James Cook rushing yards. But that's even considering Mixon's 88 yards from last week, because that's not really common against Kansas City. But what is common, at least lately, is touchdowns allowed to running backs. They've allowed 9 rushing touchdowns all year, but 5 of those have come in the last 6 games that they've played. And so Kansas City will let running backs score if the offense can get in close enough. I think that's been much of the problem all year, is they haven't allowed too many teams to get too close. Oftentimes they just kind of let a big play happen in order to allow the other team to score. But I anticipate that Buffalo will get close enough, and it's really only a matter of who gets that touch. I think James Cook is going to be the one to get it and punch it in for the Chiefs, or against the Chiefs. And Cook has just 5 games all year without a score, including last week. So that means that this is hitting 14 out of a possible 19 games this season. And he had 2 touchdowns against Kansas City in the last matchup. So I like for him to get into the end zone again this week against the Chiefs. Plus 125 there for a Cook touchdown. Next play here, we've got Khalil Shakir. We're staying in the Kansas City game. Khalil Shakir, 20-plus receiving yards in quarter 1. This is a plus 225 play. So I'm shaking it up a little bit. Khalil Shakir gets involved most heavily to start the game. And I've look back at the last couple of playoff games, and he's achieved this in each of those pretty comfortably. Last week, he got a 35-yard catch on the first drive against Baltimore, and the week before, he had a 15-yard and a 9-yard catch in the first couple of drives that helped him achieve that as well. The Chiefs' weakness is the pass game, so I figure that Shakir, having seen 8 catches on 12 targets last time against the Chiefs, I figure that he will be heavily involved early on in this one, because the Buffalo Bills are going to have to push the ball and look to score early to get up on Kansas City. If you fall behind early, it's extremely hard to catch up against this team. So this is also one that maybe you could lower the line down to like 15 plus yards in quarter one, and you'd still come out with like plus 115 in terms of your odds. So you're still getting plus money even if you lower this line, but considering the last couple of games and his involvement so far in the playoffs and his history having played the Chiefs, I pushed this a little bit farther to 20 receiving yards. I think he could very well do this in one or a couple of quick passes. So if there's a little bit of a lane there, we could do this in just one pass in the first drive and be done with it. So I like Khalil Shakir over 20 first quarter receiving yards at plus 225. My last play to wrap things up this week is going to go to the Philly Commanders game, and we're looking at Jayden Daniels specifically to get 2 or more passing touchdowns at plus 103. My case for this isn't too much of a matchup thing. It's more of a Jayden Daniels thing, because Philly has been locked tight much of the year, but Jayden Daniels has been the kryptonite for this Philadelphia pass defense. 5 touchdown passes in their last meeting. Now, I don't anticipate that happens again, but if Washington is going to win or even stay in this game, they're going to have to score the ball, and the best way they score is relying on the arm of their rookie quarterback over their running back scoring. So if they get in close, they're still not afraid to pass the ball. Early in the season, it might have been Robinson to punch it in, but as of late, it has been Daniels passing the ball like crazy. He has 7 consecutive games with 2 or more scores, if you exclude a partial Week 18. And then to stretch this, he had 5 touchdown passes against the Philadelphia Eagles. If you wanted to stretch it, you could bump it up to 3 and get over 4 times your money. It was plus 419 for Daniels to have 2 less touchdown passes than he did against this team already this year. So that's something you can stretch out a little bit farther if you want, but you're still getting plus money at 2 touchdown passes or more. So I like that play for Jayden Daniels to score 2 or more touchdown passes this week against the Philadelphia Eagles. Then, like I said, Jayden Daniels, you stretch that to 3, you're still getting plus 419. So if you want to sprinkle, it might be worth putting a few bucks on to kind of stretch your money a little bit and give you some extra cash to play for the Super Bowl. So that's my play. We'll kind of go back over everything real quick. We've got Travis Kelce anytime touchdown at plus 120. Next, we had a James Cook anytime touchdown at plus 125. Next play was Khalil Shakir 20 plus yards, receiving yards in quarter one. That came in at plus 225. I said if you lowered that to 15, it was plus 115. Jayden Daniels is the next play at 2 plus touchdown passes. The odds on that were plus 103. If you stretched it to 3 touchdown passes, it comes in at plus 419. So that's the slate of bets that I've got for y'all this week. Throw it in the comments if anything hits you, if I convinced you any one way or another. So hopefully we can have some good luck this week in the NFL Conference Championship. And again, I will just remind everybody to bet responsibly, set that limit, stick to it, and let's have some fun this week. Good luck out there, and let's hope we can win some extra cash in our pockets, take those significant others out to a nice little dinner before we get to Super Bowl weekend. So I will see everybody back here again for one last go at it for the Super Bowl week. Super Bowl Sunday coming up here soon, so we will see you guys back next time. Thanks and good luck.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.